right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention. And welcome back to another episode of Toxic Masculinity, where I have my co-partner in crime, the other mustachio man that has graced the octagon cage, Don the Predator Frye, and yours truly, Dan to Severn. Today's guest we have Mr. Gary, am I going to pronounce it correctly? Rabine?
Perfect. Yes, you got it perfect,
Okay.
Don.
All right, good. I just but we're going to be talking to Gary about actually a number of different things. First off, would be the fact is that you are a self-made man. I mean, that's what that was one of the first things that caught my attention is that you didn't really jump into a family business. You actually started something on your own, and you made it work.
I was one of the founders in starting an organization called Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk is the CEO. I mentored Charlie Kirk early on at 18, 19 years old, and I was one of his first investors and first mentors. Charlie Kirk today has about 500,000 kids in Turning Point USA, and all we do is constantly educate our kids in college campuses why their professors and their administrators are nut jobs, teaching them that communism and socialism is good, okay? And we educate them on why it's so important that we hold on to these free market capitalistic ideas, right? And this Constitution and why how valuable the Constitution is, Second Amendment, First Amendment, right, and everything else. So that's what Charlie Kirk does today, Turning Point USA, and it's an amazing organization that's growing rapidly. So it's a lot of fun to be a part of that.
He's the fellow that's on Fox News periodically, correct?
He's on Fox all the time. He's got his own national radio show, his own national podcast. He's a super sharp kid, and he's 28 years old, and he didn't go to college.
Right. That's a good story.
Yeah.
He's got his shit together. He's got his shit together, and it proves, you don't need a piece of paper hanging on the wall, telling everybody how smart you are, or that, basically, any idiot can get that piece of paper as long as they put in the time and pay the money.
Yeah, that's right. Now, how about all these kids now? I talked to a friend of mine here yesterday. 3 kids in college last couple of years, and the one kid right now is a junior. He's his first semester in college, paying like $80,000 a year. First semester actually in school. The first 2 years. All virtual and paying $80,000 a year. How crazy is that?
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam.
Yes, it is.
And you got people convinced that you've got to have a piece of paper from a university telling everybody how smart you are, and that's the only reason they should hire you. Is because you have this 8x10 piece of paper informing the world, you're educated.
You're better off going to work, like we said. I mean, our trades jobs pay 6 figures within a few years of learning, in our trades jobs, whether it's operating heavy equipment, laboring, concrete finishing, whatever. And there's kids that out of high school are making 6 figures within a couple of years out of high school. Well, that's a heck of a lot better than paying 6 figures per year for an education if they don't know what they want, right? You're gonna be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, accountant, whatever. I guess maybe it makes sense, but 80% of the diplomas they get are junk.
Right,
Correct.
and eventually you're gonna need somebody to come through that front door of yours to fix the light or the plumbing or something like that in your house, and you'll be paying them $200 an hour, just to walk through the door.
Yes, that's right.
Gary, I'm really interested with all the things that you're doing right now. The thing is, you said you do have a golf course, so right?
I do, yeah.
Are
Revitalize
you a
2 golf courses.
But,
I'm kind of a piss poor golfer, actually. I'm not patient enough to play it too often. I like to work a lot more than golf. But I do like golf to get to know people. So I do play some golf. I got, when I wanted to get good, I played it for a year, got up in the morning and hit balls early morning, and got a couple lessons and knocked 11 strokes off my game. So I got to be good at one point, and then I kind of, didn't have time again for the last few years. So I'm back to being bad again. but I own two golf course. I own two golf courses at one time. I revitalized my first golf course and then sold that. And then I bought another one. This one's a world-class golf club. I go back to world-class, right? This is a golf course that had all the bones to be a great golf course. Today, my goal was for it to be a world-class golf course. It's rated 30th most challenging championship golf course in America today. It's called
Really?
Bull. Yeah, it's called Bull Valley, actually. This is a hat actually that represents the golf course. It's a badass golf course. So we say go try to play the bull. It's going to kick your ass. And so, but Bull Valley is a place where big golfers that like a major challenge will come and play. We also hold some professional tournaments there and stuff. So yeah, we took it from being a bankrupt course, losing $500,000 a year to a profitable private golf course that makes about $500,000 a year, right? So that's all about what I love doing, turning things around, right? Taking a bad economic situation and making a good one.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of things I love doing. I do it with businesses, and my goal is to do it with Illinois in the worst economic state in the country. When I become governor, eventually when I do, or if I help somebody else, I understand the economics of Illinois and how we can change it.
So you definitely need your type of leadership there all together. You would get along really well with another gentleman that both Don Frye and I know by the name of Art Martori. Basically, he's probably one of the reasons why I ended up signing with Arizona State University. He ended up starting the Sunkiss wrestling program. I always, when I was looking for a college to go to, I made it very well known that I was going to sign with a college program that had both a good folk style program, but also had some type of interest into an international wrestling, freestyle Greco.
There you go.
Basically, because there's a lot more opportunities. A lot of people, they think short term, if we're the only country that does folk style. The rest of the world does freestyle Greco. So if you want to go to Olympic Games, want to go to World Championships, you have to know freestyle Greco. So it's I'm sure you were involved in freestyle.
Yeah,
Greco
I got in freestyle Greco tournaments when I was a kid because I want to get better at folks wrestling, our wrestling. So
yeah. I look at folk style is still taking people down and putting them on their back is the name of the game. Okay. And I always tell people that, beating someone by just a couple points is one aspect, because in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, they only beat me by a couple points. I can get better and I can come back. But when someone grabs you, the ultimate thing in wrestling is to grab somebody and put them on their back against their will and then pin them. And at that point in time, you've kind of stolen their soul. So like next time that they walk on a mat there with you, it's like going, they're going to be a little bit hesitant as to do things. Yeah. So I always was a big proponent of telling athletes to go after that pin. But again,
Greco-Roman seemed to help me for as far as upper body stuff and hip tosses and throws. Right. I mean, I feel like it's more almost like a little bit of jiu-jitsu or whatever. Right. It's a lot of throws and stuff that help you in folk style wrestling too. Then when you go back to it.
Yeah, judo, jiu-jitsu, I'd throw that right in there. I mean, the hardest thing is that college wrestling, collegiate style, same thing with the folk style that the high schools that have to follow up under. The biggest difference there is that if you should take my hips above your hips, you have to return me to the mat safely. Whereas in freestyle Greco, I can bury you 3 feet under. So that's the thing I liked about the freestyle Greco. It just I'll say sort of a reckless abandonment, but it prepared me a whole lot better for jumping into than like the mixed martial arts arena.
There you go.
Because Greco, the clinch, because there's so many of these matches, they always end up in a clinch. A striker will only get a chance to throw a couple strikes before that clinch takes place. And I always just tell people, just watch a boxing match now, watch a kickboxing match, watch a Muay Thai match. That referee spends more time separating those two fellows, those two women or whatever, than they do ever competing against each other. So it's I always say that a wrestler, the moment they get that clinch, they're just beginning their arsenal. They just had to get way through some hands, some legs, some knees, some elbows in a process there. Right. A lot of wrestlers have done really very well in the sport of mixed martial arts, which again, that's something I'm proud of. The fact that the wrestlers are getting that kind of recognition through it. And plus, then I know that most wrestlers are not going to piss away their savings. They're usually a lot more accountable type of individuals that will put forth and invest into the future somehow, into what they're doing. But okay, you said that the Ditch Diggers. This is your name of your company, or is the name of
I started a mentorship organization some time ago, and
okay.
So I mentor young people into leadership and into entrepreneurs and CEOs and VPs and all that. So I like mentoring people, inspiring them. Just like, again, they go back to wrestling, just like great wrestling coaches do. They mentor and they give kids a vision that to make that that if they acquire these skills, they're going to be great. They're going to win, right? Same thing. And what I do is I like inspiring people to lead. And so I did that with True Mentors, mentorship organization. And then eventually I did a podcast kind of with that, with my partner from there, from that organization. It's called Ditch Digger CEO. We have 62 episodes, and they're episodes of some of the biggest rags to riches stories in America. People that started with nothing, that have built incredible organizations. Usually almost all my podcasts, all 62 episodes, are top 1% in their industry. So I'm the first story, but then I got Jimmy John, the sandwich guy. I've got the Netflix founder. I've got the Athletico founder, the Redbox founder. All these people are people that really started with nothing and had an idea, had a vision and an execution plan, and they were successful, right? And when you listen to these stories, it's all the stuff we're talking about right now. It's just common sense, hard work, vision, execution, right? All the things we learn in life if we've got good people around us.
No, I totally agree with what you're saying on that, Gary. I mean, it's just having good people to, my father had the theories of threes. You never wanted to get to number three. Again, if you ever yelled up the stairs, "Come on, boys!" Because again, having four of the brothers, stuff like that. So the first, even though I have three sisters, stuff like that, they were all so much younger that it was always the group of the males that were always out there doing all the farm work and stuff like that. So when my father would yell up the stairs, "Come on, boys, come on down there," you might slip the foot out of the bed or the covers, just thump around a few times. I'm like, okay, Dad, be down shortly. You're still laying in bed there. He yells up the steps, number two. You never let him get to number three, because if he's yelled that third time, it means he's coming up the stairs at that point. And there's follow through at that point in time, which I say that you got all these parents and people that it's like warning. If you don't have any kind of follow through, you're not there to beat the kid, by any means, but you got to have some kind of follow through of taking something away that's going to, motivate them to want to do better the next time.
Yep. Driving accountability is everything, right? I mean, in so many environments, just simply driving accountability. And the way you do that is if you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you say there's a penalty, you better damn well make sure the penalty is what you said it was. Or next time they're going to go further. They're going to give an inch, you're going to take a mile. That's it's almost anybody's like that, right? And so, that's something we miss in society. That when you look at Barack Obama, he was a terrible leader because that's what he was. He'd warn and never do anything. And
he was a good speaker. That was what he did. He was very eloquent in his speaking ability, but no substance. He
wasn't even that good. He wasn't even good as a speaker. The only time he was good speakers, he had teleprompter in front of him. He didn't have a teleprompter in front of him. He sucked. He was
Yeah, so he stammered and sputtered. Yeah.
Listen to any of his talks when he had no teleprompter, and you'll see he's not that great of a speaker. He's a good reader, but that's about it. He's a good puppet. There's a puppet master that makes him a good puppet, but that's about it. The guy was useless as a leader.
He's useless in every other way too.
Yeah, no doubt, Don. No doubt. And now, unfortunately, I think he's the puppet master for the senile old fart we got right now that's leading our country.
God, dumb and dumber. Jeez. And then you got the vice president who's a moron, and then you got the Speaker of the House who's another senile moron. It's pathetic.
No, we need to be able to really understand what leadership looks like as we vote, and people that vote, unfortunately, don't understand it, right? Like as Dan said earlier, right? It's about what name they've seen the most, right? Not about the history of that person they're voting for. They don't spend the time to look at that.
No. Well, how soon do you think it's going to be before they just have a picture of the candidate on the screen instead of their name, because people are so dumb they can't read?
Probably already going on.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an eventuality.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.